Greetings, ladies. How is everybody doing today? Doing good myself. Very excited to get started and jump right in. First off, I just want to say thank you for joining me this morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you may be. That's one of the fun things about what we do online, isn't it? We can talk to anybody, anywhere, all over the world at whatever time of day. I love that part. It's awesome. All right, so to get us started, we're going to just jump right in. So today we're going to be talking about non-dominant handwriting. Some people call it the other hand, writing with the other hand. There's a lot of info on it, but you do have to kind of go look at for it. But there's a lot of history about writing with the non-dominant hand. Benjamin Franklin was a big fan of training both hands to write independently and do things independently of each other. But there's a lot of history out there, and it's really kind of fun, actually, if you wanted to look into it. But to get things started on business-wise, we're going to go a little bit in the history of it, and then we're going to delve into what we're going to do for our business where non-dominant handwriting is concerned, and what it can do for you and why it's important. So let's get going. What is non-dominant handwriting? Literally, it is writing with your other hand. So if you are a righty, you write with your left. If you are a lefty, you write with your right. So it is literally the other hand. That's all. And what you do is you write with the other hand. What that does is it accesses a completely different part of your brain. And it's a beautiful thing, actually, because we are really, 90% of us are right-handed. And what that does is it's connected to the left side of our brain. And the left side of the brain is all about linear thinking and, all those straight lines and really structured and all kinds of stuff like that. And then the left hand is associated with the right brain, where it's creative and intuitive and fun and things like that. And if you actually look at it that way too, even though it's the complete opposite, the right hand would be considered the masculine because it's on the left side of the right hand is considered the masculine and the left hand is considered the feminine. So it's one of those really fun things too. But a little bit of history where non-dominant handwriting is concerned. It was the foremost expert on it is Lucia Cappuccione. Love that name. Like could say that all day. Cappuccione. It sounds like a cappuccino or something, but okay. So back to it. So essentially what happened is it sort of began as a self-therapy technique. She herself is a PhD. I have her book right here. Everybody can see The Power of Your Other Hand. And as you can see, she's right there. And Lucia Cappuccione. It really began as a self-therapy tool. It was used to access the inner child, the inner parent, the inner critic, whatever it was that was going on inside of you. It was used to self-therapy yourself in whatever way that you could. So you would dialogue between your dominant hand and your non-dominant hand, and your non-dominant hand would have access to whichever part of your brain that you were trying to connect with. So this began developing in the early 70s, and I believe that she first wrote her first book in the late 70s, early 80s. She's been running workshops and trainings for decades now, and this is really her life's work. And then she's written, I think, 14 books or so, but she's got a lot of stuff going on in there. The other book that she's written is called The Creative Journal, The Art of Finding Yourself, and that is more along the lines of art. Now, the funny thing is, I have known about this since I was a teenager. I know it's kind of funny, isn't it? One of those funny things. I had an unusual upbringing where things like that were concerned, and so I knew about those things a little sooner than other people. So I've basically known about this all my life. And as delving into this journey of the feminine, masculine, and business balance and everything else that I've been on, I discovered, if you will, a way to access my business through utilizing the non-dominant handwriting. So we'll get more into that in a little bit. But one of the things that happens with this is it can be very slow. It can be very awkward. It's really uncomfortable. It can bring up a lot of emotions. It really is designed to tap into a place in your head where you really don't have sort of conscious access to it. And it's really kind of cool that way, because it may sound like you're talking to yourself in your head while you're trying to write, but it's really a different voice. So a part of it is being patient and allowing it to happen. So back to my journey on this. We are our own businesses. That's the bottom line. No matter what kind of business you have, you are your business. It can be a separate entity. You know what I mean? Like, my business is called Goddess at the Grindstone. Now, I'm the one who came up with that. Not the name per se, but the business idea. It's mine. It belongs to me. It's a part of me. All of you have the exact same thing. Your business started up here way before it came into physical aspects, period. It is you. Your business is you. And I can't emphasize that enough, because it really is an essential, foundational part of understanding how to create balance and harmony in your business, is understanding that it is you. There's a dichotomy that goes with it, because part of it is that it's separate from us, but it is us. And that is one of the things that is about the balance as well, is understanding that part of it is that it's outside of us and part of it is that it's inside of us. But the actual functioning business is what's outside of us. What's inside of us are the creative aspects, are the actual how we're going to do things, what we need to do, all of the really intuitive, creative knowingness that goes with your business. And it's super important, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing this, right? Okay, so what you have to do is, well, okay, let me rephrase that, because you don't have to do anything. What you can do, what you need to do, is create a dialogue with that inner aspect of yourself. So, talking about the history of it, you were in your therapy supposed to contact your inner child or your inner critic or whatever it is. Well, the idea at this point is to contact your inner business and then dialogue with her. And that's what is non-dominant handwriting for your business, in simple terms. So, getting back to that. The reason why this is so important is to connect with the truth of what your business is to you and to your business. Because the truth of your business is what makes your business possible. It is you, and it is what creates the success. So, one of the things that goes with this inner dialoguing is, I know that everybody can say, oh, you know, I can inner dialogue all myself. Why can't I just like have this conversation inside of my own head? Well, you can. The problem is that a lot of times the things that we say inside of our head, we don't remember because we don't write it down. I mean, how many times you're in the shower, you're driving, you're just falling to sleep, and you have a brilliant idea. And if you don't get up and write it down, if you don't get out and write it down, if you don't stop on the side of the road and write it down, if you don't do something, it's gone. Just poof, gone. So the idea is that this is essential to write down, because then you have record of it. You also see that you get a different syntax, if you will, when you write. As your non-dominant hand, your other hand writes, you will find that you have a completely different syntax, style, words that you use, the things that you would sort of never say on your day-to-day, your business will say to you. Your business is always kind. I have never had mine be mean to me, that's for sure. She's always kind, and she's always aware, and she's always there, and she's basically who I'd like to be. You know, she's a lot nicer than I am, at least the external part of me. But that's okay. The idea is that you test this, that this becomes a part of your regular habit on the day-to-day taking care of your business. You test this out, you play with this, you have dialogue with her and find out what's important to her and what you can do to create that in your business. So let's see, let me go back to my notes here. So you can, like I said, you can have the mental conversation, but you really may be missing a lot of things with that. I would say test it out. This is the thing. I mean, don't believe me. You don't have to believe me in this, but you can go and try it out yourself. Test it. I'm a firm believer in testing it for yourself. It doesn't work for everybody, but the people that it does work for, it works brilliantly. So always test it out. You want to try the mental stuff first? That's great. And then if you want to try the written stuff, that's even better. So the idea is that you're having the inner dialogue with your business. And so one other thing that comes with the other hand is that if you're left-handed, so if you're dominant hand, if you write that, and that's the other thing is there's so many people that are ambidextrous. I do a lot of things with my left hand because I was brought up by left-handed parents. So there's a lot of things that I do that are left-handed because that's how they taught me to do it. Now, can I throw a ball with my left hand? Oh, heck no. Can I write with my left hand? Only when I'm dialoguing. It's not all that pretty, but that's okay. So the idea is with the left hand, if you are left-handed, in theory, it's supposed to be connected to that creative side. But a lot of us have been trained to be in that left side of our hemisphere, even if we're in our left hand. So we're still contacting our business. It's more than just a fact of, that we may be accessing that left side while we're on our left, but it's more the aspect of being in setting the intention, if you will, making the decision to open up your brain, to allow your brain to be what it needs to be, to access what you need to be. And even if you are that left-handed and it's on your right side, then you need to access that. You need to offer your brain that opportunity to allow that access that you have been missing because you've been trained to do it the other way. And that is what this is all about. On the other hand, if you're a lefty who's super creative and has a really hard time with business, this is an opportunity to give that right hand a chance to access that left side of your brain and bring some structure and foundation to your business. So there's a way that this works all the way around with both aspects. And the thing is, you may find that a lot of the things that you're doing are not functionally right for you because you haven't been even dialoguing with what the dominant hand wants to do. This is a chance for you to have a conversation with yourself, with your business in a way that you never have. So what you're going to be accessing is yourself in a different way and your business in a way you never have before. Now, I think I just saw a comment, and I don't have access to comments while I'm doing this. So if you will give me a moment, and then I will get back. Oh my gosh, Amy says she's missing it. I'm not sure, Amy. Please refresh. Okay. Okay, so where were we? All right, so going back, how to get started, because this is a really big thing, is the absolute first thing that you have to do is make the decision. You have to set the intention. And setting the intention can be whatever it is that you want, but I consider it making a decision. That you're going to sit down and you're going to have a dialogue with your business. That is essential. The only way that this works is if you absolutely put yourself in that spot. Period. Period. Now, there's really simple things, like to get started, you're going to set aside 15 to 30 minutes of time of your day. And you want to make sure that you're in a quiet space. You want to make sure that you're not disturbed. So you need to set that intention, make the decision. You're looking for, you just want to ask for the communication with your business. Open it up and say inside of yourself or out loud, I would like to speak to my business with my non-dominant hand. And lo and behold, things work. So here's the deal. Let me show you what I've got. This is my specific journal for writing with my business. And as you can see, this is non-dominant. There's dominant, non-dominant. And as you can see, I use different colored pens. I'm a big fan of lots of colored pens. I love colored pens, but that's just me. I don't use black pens. So needless to say, what you do is you need to have a specific journal. So it can be an unlined journal. It can be a lined journal. It doesn't really matter. Lucia recommends that you have an unlined journal, and I will just leave it at that. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm not a big artist. I can barely do stick figures. So I'm a writer. So the lines are much better for me. But you can draw and you can write. In the book, she has written examples and she has drawn examples of what she has done with her other hand. Now, the other aspect of this is that you want to talk to your business as if she's your friend, because she is. She's there to create success with you. So if you are talking to her as if you're expecting something huge from her or something along those lines, that may not necessarily be. But what you want to do is create a dialogue, just like getting to know somebody. That's all this is. You're getting to know her. And she's been waiting for you to find her for a long time. And she's been waiting for you sort of patiently to talk to her. So now it's come to the point where you're going to talk to her. Well, you have to create that connection. You have to dialogue with her and learn who she is and what she's about. And she kind of knows you too, but it's a good thing to have that conversation. I know it may feel really awkward and really uncomfortable, but trust me on this. It actually works. So what we're going to do, first off, let me just say, does anybody have any questions so far? I'm going to check the group because I don't know if it's going to show up because I'm using Be Live. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but I'm using Be Live, so I'm not sure if it's actually going to show comments. So I don't see any questions, so we'll just keep going. So what you're going to do is, okay, so first off, you have to have your journal. You need whatever pens that you're going to use. If you want to use pencils, that's fine too. And your first exercise is you're going to take whatever pen that you're going to use and use your non-dominant hand, and you're basically just going to write your name. We're not looking for neatness, for legibility. You can print, you can cursive, and I can tell you right now that when I first started, I printed. Later, it became cursive. Interesting, right? Who knows? So, whatever it is that you're going to do, that's how you get started. It literally is just writing your name to get started. So, then you're going to have a pen. I always do this with 2 pens. Okay? You guys can do it however you want. But for me specifically, I do 2 pens. I keep one in each hand and I switch back and forth so that I move the book and move the journal the way that it feels comfortable for me. Now, what you're going to do is then you're going to have your dominant hand describe how it felt to do that, how it felt to write your hand in, or your name in your non-dominant hand. Next, you're going to have your non-dominant hand describe how it felt to do that too. So what you need to do then is basically just read what you wrote. All right. So you need to be patient. This is a really, really awkward and uncomfortable. On the other hand, it may just be perfect. You may just sit yourself down and just be like, wow, this is just the most awesome thing I've ever done. Doesn't matter. It doesn't, no way is right. No way is wrong. It just is what it is. So, you may hear the words in your head before you write. That doesn't mean that it is not happening properly, that it's not real. Sometimes I don't hear the words. Sometimes I do. And sometimes I'm really not even sure what I'm saying. So it kind of goes with that. Sometimes it's kind of hard to read what you wrote afterwards. But be aware that the structure of what you say while you're in your non-dominant hand will more than likely be significantly different than what you do with your dominant hand. So then the last part of the first exercise is with your dominant hand, you ask her what she'd like to be called. And that's really important because your business actually has a name. And her name is super important to being able to communicate with her. And my business's name is Gigi. I know, cute, huh? Right? But I asked her what her name was. And that's how I actually got started on doing this. And she told me her name was Gigi. And I actually laughed out loud when I read that because that one didn't even come through my head. That just straight came out of my hand. So that was kind of interesting. You need to wait for an answer to come. This is an essential part of getting started, is knowing her name, because you need to have someone that you talk to. You're not just randomly talking to my business. You're talking to part of you, and part of you has a name. Just like your little inner child. My little inner child is little Audrey. You know what I mean? Not to be confused with the cartoon. Oh, sorry. That's for anybody of an age would know what little Audrey is. Maybe not some people, but that's okay. But either way, she is important enough to have a name inside of you. And so this is really important to make sure that you get a name. And if you need to wait while she thinks about what she wants to be called, I don't think you will, because chances are she already knows what the hell her name is. And she's ready for you to call her by her name. And that's how you create the dialogue. And then you need to thank her for being there. And that is really, really important too, because if you're meeting someone new, and this is the way you need to think about this. Say you're going to a meeting with someone who's going to help you with your business. You're going to sit down with them. You're going to introduce yourself. You're going to let them introduce themselves. You're going to shake hands. Hi, how you doing? You're going to create a conversation. And then you're going to say, thanks for being here to help me with my business. And that's exactly what she's doing. So make sure that you express gratitude with her. Okay. Now, your second exercise, which can be done the same day if you want to. If not, you can do it the next day. The second exercise is, and this goes with everything from now on, is greet your business by her name. Hi, it's me. And that's what you say when you call someone on the phone. Hi, so-and-so, it's me. How you doing? Okay? This is the same thing. Greet her by name. So important. And ask her if she would be willing to have a conversation with you. Because when you call someone, even though most of us don't call anybody, we have to text to say, hey, is it okay if we talk? Hey, what do you know? That's just like that, right? I'm calling because you're actually writing and saying, can I ask you a question? I'd love to talk to you. That's how you get started every time, okay? Next thing you want to do is get to know her, all right? You want to ask her about herself. What does she like about herself? What's the best thing that's happening to her right now? What's the worst thing that's happening to her right now? What are you doing? Not her, you. What am I doing that's working well for us? And what would she like to see change? Okay? This is the thing. This is all a dialogue that you have with your business. Now, the recommendation that I have is that you dialogue with her 3 to 4 times a week. It is super important to keep active with this. She needs to be connected to and spoken to on a regular basis. And the research says that the more you engage different parts of your brain, the more you actively do something like that, the more your brain grows. They literally say that your brain expands. And it's one of the reasons why they say that the left hemisphere is bigger than the right, is because we are mostly right-handed. Interesting, right? So when you look at it like that, you create different connections on that right side of your brain. And the more you do it, the stronger it gets and the more info you have and the more connection you create. And there you go. All right. So we are just about done. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see any right now. What I'm going to do is in the comments, I think I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, if I want to put it in the file or not, because, well, there's a whole thing behind that. But what I'm looking to do is I'm going to post the instructions. So what you need to do first and foremost. As we go through everything, probably within the next week, I will start posting different prompts for you to ask your business about and to dialogue with her about. I'd love to know what everybody's business name is. I'd love to know what kind of reactions you get. So we're going to be checking in over the next week or two on what your business has to say, what her name is, and what some of the answers are that you've been getting. I am so anxious to hear about it. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. And on that note, I think we are about done. Ladies, it has been a pleasure. Go about your day. Have a wonderful day. If anybody has any questions, hit me up. Ask in the group, because if you have that question, chances are someone else has them too. All right? So what you need to do is post it in the group, ask your question, and let's get creative with what our businesses have to say. All right? Thank you very much for being here today, and I look forward to hearing all of your stories. Oh, thanks, Sam. Thanks so much. Thank you for being here, honey. Bye, everybody.